Hello there, it's Susan here, coming to do another assembly. And I say coming, I can't actually get into school at the minute, so I'm here at home in Longstanton. So I'm saying hello to anybody who is in school, so maybe there are children there from Hatton Park School in Longstanton, and maybe there's some children from Swavesey Primary School. It's good to be able to speak to you. And there may be some people from those schools who are watching from home, because everything's all a bit strange still. Today I thought I would talk a little bit about safety. Now that sounds a bit dull, but I reckon most of us like to be safe. And I've got 3 objects to help me remember what I'm going to talk to you about today. So I'll show you those first of all. First thing I've got, look at this. I borrowed this from my daughter. Can you see? It's a big heart. And the reason I've got this is I'm going to use this when we think about hugs. Next thing. I have got a hen and a chick. I'm going to be thinking about those later. And the last object I've got to show you is a boat. All things I'm going to use as I talk to you about safety. So, going back to my lovely pink fluffy heart, thinking about hugs. I wonder here how many of you like hugs. I do. I think most people do. There are some people don't like hugs, and that's okay. One of my children wasn't very keen on hugs, and so we used to do a high five instead. But for most of us, we do like a hug. And hugs are known to make you feel good. How would you describe a hug? I wonder if you had to write down what a hug was like. I imagine they'd feel different to different people. What do you like about a hug? Maybe you like that you feel close to somebody. Maybe you feel nice and cosy. Maybe you feel calm when somebody hugs you. And maybe you feel safe when somebody hugs you. Perhaps you can remember a time when you were scared. Maybe there was something difficult happening and you didn't know what was going on. Maybe there was a loud noise like a smoke alarm going off, and maybe you were feeling scared, especially if you're young. And maybe somebody came and gave you a big hug, and that made you feel safe. If you trust somebody who gives you a hug. Maybe you were feeling sad. Maybe you'd fallen and hurt yourself, and you were upset. And perhaps your mum or your dad or somebody came along and gave you a hug. And that gave you comfort. It made you feel safe. You knew somebody was looking out for you. And there are lots of people give us hugs. We can share hugs with the grown-ups in our lives. Maybe you like to share a hug with a mum or a dad, or maybe with grandparents or cousins. Maybe you've got friends that you like to share a hug with. But it's important to remember that having a hug is with somebody that we trust, because it's our own space that we're sharing. So what was the next thing I had to show you? A hen and a chick. Now, these are kind of the same size, but if you like to imagine that this one, I'm going to use this as the mother. So this is my hen, mother hen, and this is the baby chick. There's a verse in the Bible. I'm going to read it out to you. It's just a short verse, and it says, "How often have I longed to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings." If you just imagine this hen with its wings, and the wings spread out, covering the little chicks underneath. It's a bit like a hug, isn't it? That's an idea of them keeping them safe, keeping them close by, protecting them, keeping them warm. And the mother hen knows where the chick is. The mother hen can protect that little chick and keep it safe and keep it warm. So that's a lovely image, isn't it, from the Bible, of protection, of keeping safe. The idea of God wanting to look after us and protect us under his wing. That's my last object now, the boat. Oh, now what's a boat got to do with keeping safe? Well, it's because it reminds me of a story. And it's a story of something that happened to Jesus. We read about Jesus in the Bible. Now, Jesus often spent time with people, and often after a long, busy day, he liked to get away from the crowds. And so he went with his disciples, with his friends, and they got into a boat, and they sailed out into the Sea of Galilee, where they could take a break and have a bit of peace and quiet. Well, that's how it started. But as the evening went on, the wind started to blow. And as the wind started to blow, the boat started to move. It started to rock even more on the waves, this way and that way, and this way and that way. And as the wind blew, the waves grew higher and higher until the waves were really high. It had got so stormy, and the waves were crashing against the boat. The waves were splashing inside the boat. The water was getting in, and that's not a good thing when you're in a boat. I wonder what Jesus' friends thought. They were scared. They were very scared. They were worried. And these weren't people who'd never been in a boat before. A number of Jesus' friends were fishermen. They were quite used to being on a boat. So I think it must have been a pretty bad storm for his friends to be scared. And what did they do? Well, they knew that Jesus was their master, so they went to find him. Was Jesus panicking? Well, I don't know if you've heard this story before, but you'll know that Jesus wasn't panicking. What was Jesus doing? Jesus, he was fast asleep. He was sleeping in the boat in the middle of this amazing big storm where the boat was shaking from side to side. The waves were splashing against the boat and coming inside. And Jesus was asleep. Not for much longer. The disciples woke him up and said, "You've got to do something." Well, Jesus got up and he said, "Why are you so afraid?" And he turned round. He told the wind to die down. He told the waves to be still. And they did. How amazing is that? And the disciples thought, this is just incredible. This man has power, has authority. Even the wind and the waves obey him. Well, I really like that story. Sometimes in life, things get a bit stormy for us. Sometimes things get a bit scary. And we want to be safe. We want to know that we're protected. And in this story, Jesus was asleep, but the disciples went to find him because they trusted him. They wanted him to do something. And Jesus did. Jesus had authority, and he was able to make the situation better and keep the disciples safe. So there must be people in our lives that can keep us safe. Maybe take a moment and think of those people who help to keep you safe. They may be people that you live with. They, I'm sure, want to keep you safe. The staff at school. They work very hard to keep you safe. There may be other people that keep you safe. If you go to a swimming pool, when we're allowed to again, there might be a lifeguard on duty. Their job is to keep you safe. Out in the streets, you might see a police officer walking around. Their job is to keep you safe. Perhaps when you go to school, you go across the road and there is a lollipop person that helps you to cross the road. And their job is to keep you safe. However, if you don't do what these people say, then they aren't able to keep you safe. So we have to work with them. We have to play our part. But it's really important to think about those people who work to keep us safe. And isn't it so good? I think we've got lots to be thankful for, all these people in our lives who work very hard to keep us safe. So that's my thought for today, and I'm looking forward to doing another assembly. I hope you have a wonderful week, and bye for now.